Good evening. Warm welcome to all of you. We will start the Gita wisdom session today, chapter 16. We are on part 2. We will cover verses 13 to 24. The chapter title is The Divine and Demoniac Natures. Daivāsura sampad-vibhāga yoga. That's the Sanskrit name. Before we start, let me offer my obeisances to my Guru, His Grace Gaur Vilas Prabhuji, and my Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. And I thank all of you for taking time off on this Sunday evening and joining this Gita wisdom session. Let's start with the prayers. Let's invoke Krishna. So I will say the prayers and you can repeat after me. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Hare Rama.
Hare Rama, Hare Rama.
Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
So the acronym of this chapter is DOG. So what is DOG? Because we are dealing with divine and demoniac natures, the acronym also follows in the same fashion, So D stands for divine. It could be divine, it could be demoniac. We studied in the last class where Krishna, in the first lesson, he describes 26 divine qualities. So divine qualities are more, demonic qualities are less. But demonic qualities overshadow the divine qualities. He defines 6 demonic qualities and 26 divine qualities. Now, in short, what is a divine quality? If you were to remember, understand as a layman, uh, divine means I want to please Krishna. Simple. He doesn't think of anything else. For him, pleasing Krishna, finding Krishna, that's the only purpose of life. He is divine. Who is demoniac? That's the opposite. He says, I want to enjoy. Enjoyment is the motto. Such a person is a demoniac. It is not that we should imagine that all the demons are real Rakshasas. They are all human beings like us. The demon is sitting within each one of us. So what is the difference between a divine and a demonic quality? I want to enjoy. Divine person says, I want to please Krishna. O stands for opinion, outlook of demons. So Krishna describes the demoniac nature. We started this last class. We finished up to 12th verse. We will continue that today. And lesson 3, which is the last 4 verses of this chapter, Krishna also tells us how do we become free from demonic qualities. He says the choice is yours. I will not compel you. I'm only telling you if you follow divine, you will get the maximum benefit. Let's go to the now quick recap of how these chapters are connected. 13th, 14th, 15th, and 16th. It's a chain. So in the 13th chapter, we saw he says desire is the seed. What is the desire? I want to enjoy. That is the Bij Vakya. In the 14th chapter, what did we study? We studied that this seed gets nourished by the modes into a plant. In the 15th chapter, and the three modes nicely nourish it. The more you want to enjoy, the more desires you have, the more attached you are to this world. Krishna in the 15th chapter says, please remember, this material world is an upside down banyan tree. And you will get attached to relatives, wealth, job, beauty, whatever it is, you are only going to be living in this world. Punarapi janana, punarapi maran. You are not going to leave this world if you continue with attachment. He says, please realize that the real spiritual world is on top. So come back to Godhead. And that's the message of 15th chapter. And he says, how do you come back? He says, come back by detachment. Cut your attachment and just remember, I want to please Krishna. If you can follow this, you can come back to me. He continues this in the 16th chapter. Here, what he says is that we know that this world is a upside down banyan tree. And he says there are two fruits of this tree, of this material world. That is Daiva and Asura. If you have divine qualities, there are 14 planetary lokas in this world. So if you practice divine qualities step by step, you will go right up to Satyaloka, Brahmaloka. That is where Brahma resides. If you continue to be in the demonic tendencies, you want to run away from Krishna, you want to displease Krishna, then he says you will go to the Patal Loka. So we should be clear that, okay, I want to practice divine qualities and move upwards rather than falling prey to demonic qualities and go downwards. This is how these chapters are connected. And it's not that Krishna came to divine and demonic definitions or description in the 16th chapter. He has also told us earlier. He said in the 7th chapter, those miscreants who are grossly foolish, who are lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, and who partake of the atheistic nature of demons, do not surrender unto me. So he had described demonic nature in the 7th chapter itself. He continued in the 9th chapter. He says, fools deride me. He's calling these demonic people as fools. When I descend in the human form, they do not know my transcendental nature as the supreme lord of all that be. So we got the hint of who the demon in this chapter, and now he's giving us a complete detailed description of what this demonic tendencies are. So what is demonic? Thing in the mode of rajas and tamas, passion and ignorance. He has also described the demonic, divine people in the earlier chapter. In the 9th chapter, he says, "O son of Prutha, those who are not deluded, the great souls, are under the protection of the divine nature. They are fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as the supreme personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible." So he has defined who is the divine person in the 9th chapter. He said this in the 14th verse also. He says, how do you find out the divine people? All of them look same. He says, these people always chant my glories. They endeavor with great determination, bowing down before me. These great souls perpetually worship me with devotion. So this is how you can find out who is a divine person. And what is the basic characteristic of a divine person? Act in the mode of goodness. That's the stepping stone. From goodness, you can transcend the modes and go back to Godhead. With this brief, this thing, let's start the verses today. And let me tell you today, the verses are quite easy to understand. As we come to the last of the chapter,
Sham, we have lost you. Lost your voice.
Sham, no connection.
can you hear me?
Yes, ಇವಾಗ ಬಟ್
ಹಾ.
ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಬರೀ ಏನು ಬರ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ.
ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ವಾ?
ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ಈ ಶ್ಲೋಕ ಎಲ್ಲ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಬರೀ ಆ ಫೇಸ್ ಒಂದ್ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ.
ಒಂದ್ ನಿಮಿಷ ತಾಳ.
ನನಗೆ
ಇಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಬೆಟರ್ ನೌ?
ಡಿಸ್ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿತ್ತು.
ಇವಾಗ
ಇವಾಗ ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್ ಬರೀ ಅವನ ಸಿಗರೇಟ್ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿರೋದು ಒಬ್ಬ ಮನುಷ್ಯಂದ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ.
ಇವಾಗ ಒಂದ್ ನಿಮಿಷ.
ಇವಾಗ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ.
Sorry for the small hiccup, some technology. Hare Krishna, uncle. I can see uncle has also joined.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So we will start the first verse of the day. As I was saying, that verses are very easy to understand. towards the end, I will also show that just because the verses are easy, it doesn't mean that you don't have uh, what you can say understanding, or let's say we get the understanding how these verses will help to make decisions which can change our lives. So I will share in the last two, three verses where we can see how Gita can help us clear steer of all the social issues, social challenges that we can face in life. So I don't want to spill the beans now. Let's wait till the last. But let's go through these verses very easily. Very nice to, very easy flowing, very easy to understand. Not much of an explanation is also required. Let's start. Idam adya maya labdam imam.
Voice problem.
Okay, one nimisha. Is it better now?
ನನಗಂತೂ ತುಂಬಾ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಲೌಡ್ ಅಂಡ್ ವೆರಿ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್.
ಹೌದಾ? Murli, you want to check? Murari? ಕೇಳ್ತದ ಮುರಾರಿ? ಅಂಕಲ್ ನಿಮ್ ಕೇಳ್ಸುತ್ತಾ?
ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತದೆ ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತದೆ. ಬರೀ ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ ನಾಗ ಇಷ್ಟ ಇದೆ, ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತದಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಬಟ್ ಶ್ಲೋಕ, ಐ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಸಿ ದ ಶ್ಲೋಕ.
Okay, okay.
In English, but not in Sanskrit.
So Murari has dropped out. I think he will connect back again. So
Probably he got connection problem.
Yes, yes. So idam adya maya labdam imam prapsye manoratam idam mastidam api me bhavishyati punardhanam. So what is the thought of these people who are demoniac in tendency? One ನಿಮಿಷ, ಮತ್ ಮುರಾರಿ ಫೋನ್ ಬಂತು. ಎಸ್ ಮುರಾರಿ? ಹಾ, ಇವಾಗ ಬಂದ್ರಾ? ಹಾ, ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ನನಗೆ. ಹಾ, ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಯು ಆರ್ ಆನ್ ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. Okay, right. Okay, bye. So some problem with Murari.
Network problem.
Now you are back.
Network. It is a network problem actually.
Correct. So we were just starting the first verse. What is the translation of this verse? The translation is the demoniac person thinks so much wealth I have today, and I will gain more according to my schemes. Simple tendency. In the next three verses, Krishna tells us what is the thought process of this demoniac person or the materialistic person. Now, before we get into the verse, we shall understand in simple philosophical terms how our mind works. It is said that we have an impulsive mind, all of us, all humans. We have an impulsive mind and a reflective intelligence. Very easy to understand. Impulse is we want to do something without thinking. Reflective is we will think and do. So generally, if we have to be a balanced person, the intelligence has to be our mind's instrument. We should not allow the mind to dictate to the intelligence. What does the intelligence do? The intelligence will help review, it will regulate and redirect. Why we always hesitate when, let's say, we have to say a lie or we want to steal? Because the intelligence says, don't do this. This is not right. So this is how God has created us. But what happens if you are a demoniac person, if you start thinking about, oh, well, how can I break the law? Then what do? You hijack the intelligence. You make the intelligence the instrument of your mind. That is the problem. And that is what Krishna explains in the next three verses. So what is idam? What is idam? Idam is today. I have so much of wealth. Adya maya labdam. I have so much of wealth today. I have gained so much. Imam prapsye manoratham. And his mind's chariot. Manoratham means mind's chariot. He says, I will get more and I can get whatever I want. Even my faint desire will be fulfilled. So Manoratham is how this is described in Vedic literature. It shows that if you want to travel the speed of light and you want to have a comfortable ride, then you allow the mind to ride on a chariot. If you want to go fast, but you don't mind the comfort, then they say you can go by horse. So Manoratham is a simile which says that if you want to think fast and have a comfortable ride, allow the mind to go in the direction it wants. Idam astidam apime. So much is mine today. Bhavishyati punardanam. I will ensure, I will work hard so that my money doubles in the coming days. That's his only thought process. Now, this is not something which is unique to people with demonic tendencies today. This is a nice story, which is, we all have heard about this story as a kid. We will just go through it to connect what Krishna is trying to tell us. When you focus so much on tomorrow, then obviously you have to pay the price. So this young lady has a pot of milk and she is carrying it on her head and going to the market. Very simple story. And while going, she starts dreaming. She says that, oh, I will sell this milk. Then what will I do with the money? I will buy 100 chicks. What I will do, I will rear the chicks nicely. Then I will sell the egg. I will make more money. On with that money, I will buy 2 goats and I will sell the goats and I will make more money. And with that money, I'll buy another cow. I will get more milk and I will sell that milk and I will become rich. So this is how she is dreaming as she is taking the milk to the market. And suddenly he says, Bhavishyati Punardhanam. The whole thing is that what will this money happen in the future? It will double. And, you become so overjoyed by this thought. He started skipping and jumping with joy. And then what happened? The jug fell, broke, and everything was lost. So, what Krishna says, do not be so much fascinated by Bhavishyati Punardhanam. Try and maintain your balance. Money is important, but money is not the only thing in life. He continues in the 3 verses, 13, 14, 15, the same thought process, thought flow. Asau maya hata shatru hanishye chaparanapi ishkaro aham bhogi siddho aham balavan sukhi. What happens after I get my wealth? So much is mine now. Translation. And it will increase in the future, more and more. He is my enemy, and I have killed him. And my other enemies will also be killed. I am the Lord of everything. I am the enjoyer. I am perfect, powerful, happy. Just imagine how egoistic this person is. So the desire of the demonic person is described. And now he says, Siddhoham Balavan Sukhi and Hanishye Chaparanap. He says, Asau Maya Hata Shatrur. I will even kill my enemy if he comes in my way. Just put this to any of our corporate life. This is what the corporate culture is. I want to be big. My market share should be the highest. I don't mind overriding my competition. So the same mental thought process is adopted in the life too. Asau Maya Hata Shatru. I want to kill my enemies if they come in the way. Hanishye Chaparanapi. Not only these fellows whom I have identified, even if in the future someone else comes, I will get rid of them. So it's just like, it is looking like our dawn. What do the dawn do? They do the same thing. I don't want anyone in my field. I should be the supreme. And this is not true only of today. Duryodhana, what was he? He was also not greedy. He not only wanted the money, wealth, kingdom of the Pandavas, he also wanted to eliminate Pandavas. Same thing. Asau Maya Hata Shatru. Get rid of my enemies. Ishwaro aham bhogi. He says, I am the Ishvara, I am the enjoyer. Imagine to what extent they are egoistic. I am the controller. He says, there's no God. I am the God. Aham bhogi siddhoham. I am already accomplished. I have all the political connections, money, power. I am Balwan. I am Sukhi. If you want to be part of this enjoyment, come join me. This is his thought process. Now, what is the reflection of this verse? Very nicely explained by Acharyas. They say there are two things in a human which is possible. One is weakness. All of us can slip. We get angry, we get into road rage, we curse someone, we are a little jealous if someone does better than us. All that is fine. Krishna says, yes, weakness is understandable. You are hot-headed for a minute and then intelligence takes over. It calms down the mind and says, okay, now go and apologize. That is fine. But these people are not weak. They are wicked. Now, Wickedness is far more dangerous than weakness. In weakness, you never plan to kill someone. In wickedness, you plan to kill someone. That is what Duryodhana did. That is why we should avoid ourselves getting into this cesspool of hate, envy, me. We should try to step out of that. And that is possible if you are able to allow the intelligence to drive your mind. Going further. Adyo abhijanavan asmi ko anyosti sadrisho maya yakche dasyami modishya iti agnana vimohitaha. The same thought process continues. What happens once you get well? So now this fellow starts saying, I am the richest man. I am surrounded by aristocratic relatives. There is none so powerful and happy as I am. I shall perform sacrifices. I shall give some charity, and thus I shall rejoice. In this way, such persons are deluded by ignorance. Again, another easy verse to understand. Adyo, I am wealthy. I am the richest man. Abhijanavan asmi. I belong to a powerful, noble family. I am surrounded by aristocratic relatives. I have contacts. No one can touch me. Go on your feet, Sadrisho Maya. He asks everyone who is equal to me. Can anyone compete with me in power? Can anyone be as happy as I am? He's a megalomaniac. And he's not just happy with wealth. He also wants religious fame. What does he do? Yakshe, yagam karishe. I shall perform sacrifices not to please Krishna, just to show off. Dashyami, I will give some charity. What is the charity meant for? Publicity. I will contribute to construction of a temple, but my name should be prominently displayed in all the newspapers of the area. So what is he saying? Modishya. Spiritually, I will enjoy. I shall do all that is required, build a temple, perform, give charity. But, and that gives me happiness because all the people will say, wow, this man has done so much for the society. There is no surrender element in his mind. He just wants glory. Iti agnana vimohitaha. So, and what does this mean? This is how he is overwhelmed by ignorance. These fellows are deluded by ignorance. Because now it is not something which is unheard of. Take the example of Duryodhana. What is his this thing? He exploited the weakness of his father, Dhritarashtra. Dhritarashtra was blindly in love with his son. So what he did, he planned a lot of things against Pandavas. Why? Because he was envious of them. And Dhritarashtra as a father never stopped him. He either kept silent, which meant I'll silently encourage you. And this went on feeding the ego of Duryodhana to such an extent. He says, I am the powerful man. I can fight with anyone and I will wipe out Pandavas. And when he was thinking like this, he was not aware that he had sown the seeds of his own destruction by his act. So we should be very careful to control ourselves in this thought process. Don't go on this path because it is slippery. Now we come to the 16th verse. Aneka chitta vibrantaha mohajala samavrataha pratakta kama bhogeshu patanti narake suchao. Now, when you start thinking like this, acting like this, if this is your behavior, Krishna tells, where is your destination? Thus perplexed by various anxieties and bound by a network of illusions, mohajala, they become too strongly attached to sense enjoyment and fall down into hell. Again, another easy words to understand. Aneka chitta vibhranta. Eka is one, aneka is many. Chitta is consciousness. So what have you allowed your consciousness to become prey to? Vibhranta. You are perplexed. You are always thinking of, oh, I have so much, I want more. And if I don't get that, I am under anxiety. Mohajala samavrita. You are caught in your own web of doings. And your consciousness, instead of simple thing, focus on leading a truthful, peaceful, honest, humble life. That is what Krishna says. Do that, everything else I will take care of. But no, we want to run behind illusion to see that I am the richest, I am the greatest. They say money can buy a house, but it cannot make it a home. Money can buy a bed, but can it give you sleep? That is what we should be asking ourselves. Money can buy people, but money cannot buy love. So this is the mohajala under which these people are caught. Samavrataha. They are, and this illusion traps them completely. It's like, you are caught in the net like a fish and you cannot escape. In the last verse, Krishna, in the earlier verses, he had said, Asha Pasha Baddhav, news of desires. Now he's saying, Mohajala Samavrata. So there you were caught by your own desires, which was binding you. And now he's saying you are caught in the network of desires and delusion. Prasakta kama bhogeshu. Asakta is attached. Prasakta is strongly attached. So they are lost in what? Kama bhogeshu. They only want sense gratification. Patanti narake suchao. What will happen? Where will this lead you to? You will fall into an unclean place. That is hell. Narake. And what is the distinguishing feature of Naraka is it is spiritually inferior. It will only take you backwards towards Loka and not Satyaloka. There is a very nice saying by Shankaracharya. And if you read this, then we'll realize that we never have the time for spiritual pursuit. We are always engaged something materially. He says, Balastavat, when one is a kid, Krida Sakta. He happily spends it in the games and plays. He's not bothered about anything else. Tarunastavat, when one is an young boy. So the kid has grown into an youth. What is he after? Taruni Sakta. He happily spends it in the involvement of young girls. So childhood is over, youth is over. Ruddhastavat. Now what happens? Middle age is over. When one is old, at least now you should have some time for the Lord. Chinta Sakta. He spends it worrying about different things of both the past and future. The question Shankaracharya is asking is, Pare Brahmani ko apina. When is the time for you to involve yourself in spiritual pursuit? The whole life is gone, but we still have no time. This is how the demoniac tendencies are, and we should try to avoid that, getting into that mohajala. Continuing. Atma sambhavita sabdaha dhanamana madanvitaha yadante nama yagnaiste dambena vidipurvakam. The hypocritical nature of demonic people is described in this verse. They are self-complacent and always impudent, deluded by wealth, false prestige. They sometimes proudly perform sacrifices in name only, yajante nama yajnaiste, without following any rules or regulations. Another easy verse to understand. Atma sambhavitaha, self-complacent, sabdha. They don't care for any authority. For them, there is no scripture, there is no Gita, there is no Krishna. Mine. I am the law. My way is the highway. Arrogant, no humility, self-conceited, stubborn. This is how we can describe this people. Dhanamana madanvita. What are they absorbed in? They are absorbed in the delusion of dhana, wealth, pride, mana, self-glorification, prestige, madanvita. Because of the arrogance, they don't mind causing pain to others. Yajante, they may do some worship, some sacrifice. What for? Nama yajnaite. Just for the sake of name. They only want their name to be involved in that act. They have nothing to learn from that performance of that worship. They don't do Nama Yagna, they do Yagna for Nama. Give me the name, give me the credit, and I'm happy. Dhambena, Dhambena Avidhi Purvakam. Dhambena means filled with arrogance, and they just want to show off. And whatever they do it Avidhi Purvakam. You cannot perform a puja without following the rules, but they're not interested in that. For them, hey, yaar, whatever is possible, do it. I just want to have the name that I have done this yajna, I have done this puja, I am the sponsor of this charity. This is his outlook. So fanatics use God's name to give God a bad name. This is what happens if you follow this demonic tendency. One word or one line to understand this: they are filled with pride and drunk with wealth. We should avoid this state. Continuing further. Ahankaram balam darpam kamam krodam cha samsritaha mam atma paradeheshu pradvisanto abhyasuyakaha. further results of demonic activities. It's a slippery slope. Bewildered by false ego, strength, pride, lust, and anger, the demons become envious of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is situated in their own bodies and in the bodies of others, and blaspheme against the real religion. So, Ahankara. So, what are their characteristics, character traits? False ego. I alone can do everything independently. Balam. I alone am the victor. I am the strongest. Darpam. No one is equal to me. Kamam. My desires are greater than all others combined. Krodha. I will kill my enemy. Kaman Krodhan. Cha Samsritaha. Pride, lust, anger. Samsritaha. Srita means ashraya, to take shelter. They take shelter of lust instead of taking shelter of Krishna. Now, when you see samsritaha, you can take shelter against a physical phenomena like rain. When it rains, you go and stand under a tree. So you take in the shade of a tree to avoid getting wet. Emotionally, you want to take samsritaha, you can take shelter of relationship. Spiritually, you want to take samsritaha, you want to take shelter, you can take shelter of guru, sadhu, shastra. But what shelter they have taken, they have decided to choose. They have chosen kama, krodha, ahankara, balam, sapam. That is what is the fallacy of these people. And for the first time in this verse, Krishna is using mam. He says, they know that I exist in you. I have said this earlier. Mam atma paradeheshu. They will hate me when knowing that I am within you. You take Dharma, Duryodhana, Shakuni, Hiranyakashipu, any of these great Ravana. They knew that, yes, if, Paramatma is sitting in me also. But they never were willing to concede that. They were overcome by arrogance. Not only they ignored, they chose to ignore the Paramatma within them. Krishna says, Atma Paradeheshu. They even hated Krishna in the body of devotees. What did uh, our Hiranyakashipu, when he looked at Prahlad Maharaj, what did Prahlad Maharaj say? The Lord is available everywhere. And did Hiranyakashipu like that? No. What did he do? Even though he was his own son, he tried to put him into so many things, tortures. He wanted to even kill him. So Krishna says, they not only ignore me within themselves, they also ignore and envy and trouble me sitting in the other bhaktas, other devotees of mine. Mamatma paradeheshu. Pradvisanto. Pradvisanto means what is their outlook? What is their behavior? Envy. They disrespect me, they hate me, they are highly critical of scriptures. What is there in Gita? That's their outlook. Now, Visuya, Visuyakaha. So they are trying to blaspheme me out of envy. Now, if you see, envy targets the envied, but torments the envious. Let us see this. Why Krishna is saying this and how he says that Mam Atma Paradeheshu. So it is not something new because Krishna has already told us this in the earlier verses. He says, if your person is full consciousness of me, knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities, the supreme lord of all planets and demigods, and he has said that, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities. It is not that, just because you're a demoniac, I will not be in you. I will not look after you. Here says, I am the well-wisher of all living entities. And if you are only able to understand this fact, he says, attains peace from the pangs of material miseries. Even though Krishna has told this earlier, these people do not want to accept, acknowledge that. In the 15th chapter, he has said, I am seated in everyone's heart. That includes the demoniac person. And from me comes remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. By all the Vedas, I am to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of Vedanta and I am the knower of Vedas. So, in spite of giving us such message in so clear language, what are these people are doing? They are only looking at Abhyasuyakaha. How can I envy? How can I blaspheme Krishna? Now, there is a very interesting way Acharyas explain this phenomenon of envy. Now, envy is something like it is a dark tendency within us and it makes us miserable looking at other success. How do we understand this? Duryodhana was envious of his cousins, Pandavas. Why? Because Pandavas chose to live a pious life. They wanted to live a simple, divine life. Daiva. They didn't want to follow this Asura tendency. Was Duryodhana happy? Yes, I agree. You were envious. So he says, no, I'm not only envious. Now I want to torture them. So what he did, he usurped, he captured their kingdom by doing all false things, sent them to Vanvas. Was he satisfied? He's still not satisfied. Because the envy is a continuously burning fire within. Envy tormented him. He was always dissatisfied. And ultimately, it ended in his destruction. That is why Gita says, envy targets the envied. Duryodhana targeted Pandavas by his envy. But ultimately, Pandavas did suffer by his chal and kapat, but that also tormented the envious. So Duryodhana also paid a price of being continuously anxious, continuously scheming, continuously trying to eliminate the Pandavas. Did he succeed? He did not succeed. That is what Krishna is trying to say. Continuing further. Tan aham dvishata kruran samsa.
Sham,
Yes,
Sham, one, yeah. See,
yes,
these people, he says, he condemns those people. So, I know, like, sir, you nicely connected 529 and 1515. These people do it. I am residing in others. Even them, he harmed them, he says. That is because they are ignorant, isn't it? Although he has said in the earlier chapter, he said, look, I also reside in everybody, Sarvabhutanam and all, but
right.
you still try to do it because it shows that they're not learned it. Of course, they're
Yes.
not. See,
Ignorant,
they're
ignorant.
ignorant.
Yes. In the coming verses, Krishna says this also. He says you should understand that just by being, following the divine tendencies, will you achieve me? He says no. For that, your ignorance should go. And how will the ignorance go? By just acknowledging the fact that I am part and parcel of you. So in the next verse, that also comes.
Mm.
So he says, Tannaham dushata kruran samsareshu naradhaman upame ajashram asubhan ashurishva eva unishu. What will happen if you think like this? Krishna says, I will toss you into hell. Those who are envious and mischievous, who are the lowest among men, I perpetually cast into the ocean of material existence, into various demoniac species of life. This is what you desire, this is what you get. So Krishna says, if you want, you have to choose. He's coming to this very slowly. He's building the tempo. He says, what you sow, so you reap. Tan aham. Those people, Vishata. Who are these people? They are class of people who are always envious of Krishna. Kruran. Now, Kruran means cruel. Yes, they are cruel by nature. Kruran also means mischievous. So Krishna is trying to use the word Kruran here with this bhav, because Krishna is bhavagra. He says, I look at you as a mischievous child. Samsareshu. You are living in this material entanglement. Naradaman. Because of your own thought process, what is that you're calling upon yourself? You are going to be condemned to live among the lowest. Why? Because you're not making effort to realize yourself. What you're doing is whatever little energy I have given you, you are using it to abuse me. You are envious towards me. If this is what you do, then what you will get, me. I will throw them. I will cast them. He's being very, very candid here. Ajashram, for a long time, until and unless you change, you will not get liberation. Ashubhan, you are condemned to an inauspicious life, perpetually cast into ocean of material existence, perpetual ignorance. You can hear me, na?
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
Yeah, you can.
We should perfect. So this is how now you see Krishna. Now in the other religions, they say that hell is something which is kind of very grotesque, very it creates fear in man. Yes, this is one definition of hell. Krishna is giving us another definition of hell here, and we will see that in the next verse. He says, I am looking at you as a father who looks at a child. I understand that you're mischievous. Then I'm telling you, don't do this mischief. Don't try to be envious. Don't blaspheme me because you don't achieve anything. By doing this, you're only calling yourself to be born again and again as a demon. Asurishva eva yonishu. You're born life after life in the demoniac species. Now, you may be wondering, is demon something like Rakshasa, what we imagine, Uh, no, all of us have demonic tendencies in ourselves, within ourselves. Duryodhana was not a Rakshasa. He didn't have any fearful appearance. He was just a human being like any of us. But he had the demonic mentality. The thinking process is what makes you demoniac. Let's look at this. And Krishna has said, why I'm trying to recollect these verses is that we have to connect the flow of Gita philosophy and wisdom. Krishna he has said earlier in 9.32, he says, O son of Pruta, those who take shelter in me, though they may be of lower birth. Now he's saying that whatever is your nature, whatever is your social status, caste, creed, I don't care. You may be of lower birth, you may be born as a woman, Vaishya, merchants, Shudras, can attain the supreme destination. He is impartial. Even after knowing this, if you continue to blaspheme, then you are ignorant. In 9.30, he says, even if one commits the most abominable action, now you cannot be more clear than this. Apichet sa duracharo, most abominable action, most sinful. If he is engaged in devotional service, he is to be considered saintly because he is properly situated in his determination. We will look at this very, very testing thoughts, philosophies of life when we come to the last two verses. Crime and sin. Is it so easy to understand them without the help of scripture? Krishna is saying, I will help you provided you are willing to listen, provided you are willing to understand. So the purpose of punishment, purpose of casting into hell is not to condemn you. It is to correct the jiva. Krishna is giving all these verses is only to try and hold our hand and guide us on the right path. Let's move to the next verse. Here, this is a very nice, this is from Saint Pratahari. I will, if it works.
Damn, there is no voice. Again.
Oh,
Voiceless speech.
1 second.
वर्षशतं नृणां परिमितं रात्रौ तदर्धं गतं
Is it okay now?
तस्यार्धस्य परस्य चार्धमपरं बालत्ववृद्धत्वयो.
You hear that?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Okay. Just see. Why is it not working now?
आयुर्वर्षशतं नृणां परिमितं
How you can hear?
रात्रौ तदर्धं
Yeah.
गतं
We're hearing.
तस्यार्धस्य परस्य चार्धमपरं बालत्ववृद्धत्वयो. शेषं व्याधिवियोगदुःखसहितं सेवादिभिर्नीयते जीवे वारितरङ्गबुद्बुदसमे सौख्यं कुतः प्राणिनाम्.
So, what is the essence of this work from Saint Bhrutahari is he gives us a very nice way to understand why we should focus our time, little time that we have, on understanding Krishna. He says, life of a man is limited to 100 years. Example, at the highest end, many of us don't even live to see 80. Out of this 100 years, we should be aware 50 years is spent sleeping because every day has a night. So the balance 50 years that is left, 25 years is spent in childhood and youth, where we don't know what is good and what is bad. We just flow in the flow of life. Now, of the balance 25 years, he says approximately half of that, 12 and a half years, is spent in old age, where we know what is good, but we cannot implement what we want to because health is a problem. Our faculties don't listen to us. Our body doesn't respond. So he says only 12 and a half years is left, of which you will also have to account for illness, bereavements, troubles, and then you have to do some service for others in the family, etc., etc. He says our productive. Where is that? Our productive, precious part of life is very, very short. And if we are in spiritual stagnation, this is a huge waste of being born as a
Ayur
human being. With that, we go to the next verse. Asrim yoni mappanna mooda janmani janmani mam aprapyaiva kaunteya tato yanti adamam gatim. Now he says, after you are cast into hell, what happens to you? Attaining repeated birth amongst the species of demoniac life, O son of Kunti, such persons can never approach me. Gradually, they sink down to the most abominable type of existence. So, you are not only going to be born as, in the last verse, it says, Asurim yoni mapanna. Now it says, Asurim yo. In this verse, he's saying, Asurim yoni mapanna. In the last verse, it says, Asurim eva yonishu. Mapanna means you are going to attain the same Asuri yoni, species of demoniac life. Mooda janmani janmani. It is not only in one lifetime, it is going to be again and again, again and again. And please be aware of this. It is not that, I am having demonic thought process in this life. In next life, I get something better. He says, no, you will continue to be in the same place. You will, what is the disadvantage of this? You have no scope for liberation, no chance for escape. That is why I am asking you, oh my dear child, don't try to be mischievous. Try to follow the right path. Mom, he's again saying, Mom, Mom prapyaiva kaunteya. If you do not attain me, O son of Kunti, they will get further and further away from me. So, and Krishna is expressing this with such certainty. He says, Mam apraipa eva is certainly. There is no doubt. As long as you don't mend your life, you are going to be born continuously in the demonic species. Tato yanti adamam gatim. Gradually you sink down to the most abominable type of existence. You will be born as a snake, scorpion, coronavirus, etc., etc. So knowing this, is it not right for us to change ourselves? This is a nice Mahasubhashita Sangraha. In this he says, in human birth, yes, there is problem of naraka. We all go through the threefold miseries given by the modes. Now, in other species, you don't have any method to get out of negativity. Now, you take an elephant, a shark, or a dog. It doesn't know. I should read Gita. I should know what is right, what is wrong. They live life as it comes because they are born in that species. Now, as a human being, he's asking us, Kim Karishyati? What can the person Jiva do? Use all your abilities in this human form. Take shelter of Shastra, Guru Upadesha. Take that as a medicine. Then you can get the cure for all the miseries that you're going to face in this life. This is what Brahmanda Brahmite Kona Bhagyavan Jiva Guru Krishna Krupaya Paya Bhakti Lata Bija. Brahmanda Brahmite Kona means we will be circulating in this life after life without liberation, without mukti, without moksha. He says that jiva is bhagyavan if you can take shelter of Guru, Krishna, and all that we need to do is open the book Gita, read, try to understand, seek shelter of a Guru, help understand, and try to course correct. So with that, we finish the second part of this chapter. We come to the last one, gaining free from or getting free from demonic qualities. Now, this is the interesting part of this chapter. Where we can...
Sham, one question to
Yeah.
be devil's advocate. So, if really, when he says, I'm there in Sarva Bhutanam, Sarvas and Prani, human beings, and then he said, for repeatedly you will have in this inferior births, right? Is there no salvation? How will them, if he falls from grace from human life, he doesn't do, do they have no salvation? How can they go higher, gain punya and go higher up the ladder?
We will do one thing. You will get this answer in the future verses. If you don't
Okay.
get the answer, I will again come back to this point.
Okay.
Okay? Right. So we are in the 21st verse. He says, Traividam narakasyedam dvaram nashanam atmanaha ramakroda satalovaha tasmadeta trayam tyajet. So now Krishna is saying, how do we understand what we should do? So it's not that, you should be aware of too many things. He says there are only three gates to hell. Very nice verse. There are three gates leading to this hell: lust, anger, and greed. There are 26 divine qualities, but if you want to know what will open the door of misery, Krishna says there are only three: lust, anger, and greed. L-A. Every sane man should give these up, or they lead to degradation of the soul. So this verse starts telling us, how do we narrow down? Yes, we have so much of information and wisdom. Now Krishna says, be aware, try to avoid these three. Try with them. These three. Narkasya, narka is hell. Narkasyadam. This Asuri Sampat can be seen, can be summarized into three big points. What is lust? The object of lust is sex. What is greed? The object of greed is possession. What is anger? The object of desire is control. Krishna is saying, if you can understand this, Dvaram Nashanam Atmanaha, they are the doors to destruction. So what is Narka? Now Krishna is giving the definition. He has used Narka so many times. Now he's saying, Nashanam Atmanaha. The spiritual tendency of your soul gets destroyed if you continue taking shelter of lust, anger, and greed. So now you may be wondering, how can there be a dwara in our body? There is no dwara. It's a metaphor. So dwara means door. It is a means to enter and exit. So you make the choice whether I want to follow the path of lust, anger, and greed, or follow the path of what Krishna has advised. So this is a metaphor in this verse. Even this Nashanam Atmanaha. So we will ask, what is hell? So Krishna has said, I am saying Nashanam Atmanaha. Now, yes, like uncle is asking, I want to play the devil's advocate. Can you tell me the soul is eternal? How can the soul be suffering? How can the soul get affected by lust, anger, and greed? So let's go to this verse. In this verse of second chapter itself, Krishna had said, that which pervades the entire body you should know to be indestructible. Yes, Krishna himself has said our soul is indestructible. No one is able to destroy that imperishable soul. Then what gets destroyed? What is that hell? What happens to the soul? If the soul is indestructible, what is getting destroyed? The spiritual inclination of the soul is lost by these three anarthas. That is why Krishna is saying, Tasmad etat trayam tyajet. Please do not allow the spiritual tendency of the soul to be lost. Try to give up all the three. That is how we should understand this. Going further. Kama, Krodha, Tata, Lobhas. Now, let's go to the next verse here. Now we have just finished Deepavali last month. And Narka is the topic of discussion. So I'll just play this, if this fellow plays. Why do we burn Narka? Why I showed this is that this Narkasura exists in all of us. And every year we celebrate Nark Chaturdasi to say that I will get rid of this Narkasura from within me and try to follow the path that Krishna wants me to. That is the philosophy behind trying to do this Narkasura Dahana every year. And there is a nice story behind Narakasura. I want to share that also, because Now, this starts taking us to that wisdom realization of what Krishna is trying to tell us. Now, Narka is hell. And Krishna has said that hell is not somewhere up, that hell is within this world. And the door to that hell is within you, lust, anger, and greed. Now, let's look at Narkasura's story to understand how this can be connected. So, Narka is born as, he is Narka. He is not Narkasura. He is born as Narka. He is the son of Bhumi Devi. And he prays to Brahma, and Brahma being very, he's a soft God. He says, okay, tell me what you want. He says, I want to be very powerful. Fine. The boon is granted. And you know what was the boon? He says, oh dear Brahma, please ensure that I can die only by my mother. Only my mother can kill me. No one can kill me. You just imagine how difficult is this Narkasura within us. And Narkasura had taken that benediction from Brahma. Then, once you get that boon, he became uncontrollable. He was like, I am the supreme. And he let loose a reign of destruction. He lost his self-control. He harassed people, demigods, everyone. He was so arrogant that he went and stole the earrings of the mother of Devatas. He stole the umbrella of Varuna. He abducted 16,100 princesses of the demigods and sages. This was Narkasura. And this is the story that we are seeing, but the same Narkasura is within each of us, and it can create a similar havoc because Narkasura is uncontrollable. And then he challenges Krishna. Now Indra goes to Krishna and says, oh, Krishna, save me. So, and Krishna is aware of the fact. He says, okay, getting rid of Narkasura is not that easy. So what he says, oh, Satyabhama, who is his wife, you come with me. Now, why does he take Satyabhama? Because Satyabhama is the incarnation of Bhumi Devi. And what was the boon that Brahma had given? Only my mother can kill me. No one can kill me. Now, Bhumi Devi is here as Satyabhama. He becomes his charioteer. They enter the battlefield. Vastly battle, the entire universe is shaken by that battle. And then Krishna, now Narkasura is so powerful, he leaves an arrow and it hits Krishna, and Krishna falls down unconscious. The moment Krishna is down, Satyabhama looks at him, she gets wild, she takes his bow and arrow and shoots and kills Narkasura. So, moral of the story is that you have to play or you have to pray that what did Indra do? He went and prayed to Krishna. What did the princesses do? Now, they were into the imprisonment of this Asura. And princesses also prayed to Krishna and said, oh, please marry us. Who will marry us if not? And Krishna said, fine. So he gave relief to Indra and he gave relief to the princesses. And that's how Krishna got married to so many people. Now, what is that we should do as a human? Try and follow the same path of surrender. If you fall at Krishna's feet, Krishna is going to help you. Now, he further says in this verse, Kama Krodha Tata Lobha. What is this Kama and what is this Lobha? Now, Kama has two aspects to it. If the Kama, the desire is unfulfilled, you get into Krodha. And if this Kama is half fulfilled or partially fulfilled, you get into Lobha. Now, the formula for coming out of this, if you want to control your Krodha, control your senses, then you should do Dhamma. Try and control your senses. If you want to control Lobha, then you will have to do Dana. Dana, again, this is going to be described in the next chapter. Dana in the mode of goodness, in the mode of passion, in the mode of ignorance. So, this is how we should understand. Tasmad etat trayam tejet. So, every sane person should try to give up these three. Then you are assured of getting into that mode of goodness. We go to the next verse. Even more interesting verse. Etay vimukta kaunteya tamo dvarais tribir naraha acharti atmana shreyas tato yati param gatim. What is Krishna saying here? He continues that and he says, what is that you are missing if you are not able to control this? Or if you are able to control this, what will you get? Shreyas means long-term good. So Krishna says, the man who has escaped these three gates of hell, O son of Kunti, performs acts conducive to self-realization and thus gradually attains the supreme destination. So there is hope in life for all of us. He says, Etay, all these three, don't hold on to these three. Allow your intelligence to guide you. Get rid of them. Vimukta kaunteya. Get rid of these three gates to hell: lust, anger, and greed. What will that do? It will purify your mind. In the last verse, he has said, Tasmat etat trayam tejet. Now he says, in the last verse also said, give up these three. Now he's saying, etair vimukta kaunteya. Get rid of it. And so he's emphasizing, reinforcing the message in the last verse. Tamodwara is tribir naraha. So he's used Narakadwara in the last verse. Now he's using Tamodwara. So he says, if you escape, if you allow yourself not to be controlled by these three gates of hell, acharati atmanashreyas, then you will become free from this lust, anger, and greed. Tato, not long or before long, yati param gatim. It is not that you are not rewarded. You will be rewarded with spiritual life. You will be rewarded with liberation, and that is fulfillment of life. How do we understand this? If you are in stormy weather in the sea or in the ocean while sailing, you have waves, you have stormy weather. What do? You look at the lighthouse and seek guidance. And then you know that, yes, this is the safe direction I should sail. Similarly, use Shastras, read Gita, try and understand what is Krishna trying to tell us, what is his message. His message is simple. Get rid of lust, anger, and greed. Please try. It's not that you will succeed in the first attempt. It may take lifetimes. It doesn't matter. But at least we are on the right path. This is a nice saying from our Maharaj. It's a very short clip. Just
We're
listen to him.
celebrating Diwali. It's a festival that focuses on this principle: victory of good over evil, light over darkness, knowledge over ignorance. But it especially focuses on the need for inner transformation. Greed into generosity, transforming selfishness into selfless service, arrogance into humility, hate into love.
He has summarized what we could be, what is our attempt. We should always not get confused that, don't go to the end. Oh, I am free from lust, anger, and greed. That is the ideal state. All that we can do is, as sadhakas, try to first be aware and then try to start slowly implementing that step by step. And now, what are we surrounded with? Is it so easy? To read Gita, we are assembling once in a month for 1 hour. That's the maximum we can spend time for self-realization. But what are we surrounded with every day, day and out, day in and day out? I have just collected advertisements from the last Sunday newspaper. And this is what you get to see. To sell a house, you need a woman. To sell a sofa, you need a woman. So every sensual advertisement is pushing us to that lust, anger, and greed. We would desire to have the same house. We want the same sofa. You want to have the same car, etc., etc. So the hellish conditions are being created by our modern civilization. Of all the time we have, whenever we sit in front of TV, in front of newspaper, what is our senses getting bombarded continuously with the message of lust, anger, and greed? That is the reason why we should say that how much of time should I spend on listening to these, seeing these things, and get myself, naturally you will get attracted. So if you want to prevent that, try to minimize getting attracted to these useless things. Or let's say we should not use the word useless, but these are things which are not necessary for us in our life that, we should look at them so seriously, so continuously. We come to the last but one verse of this chapter. Very nice verse. Yashastra vidimutrujya vartate kamakarataha na sasiddhim avapnoti na sukam na paramgatim. Now, if you do not take shelter of scriptures, what happens? He who discards scriptural injunctions and acts according to his own whims attains neither perfection nor happiness nor the supreme destination. So here in the last two verses, in this verse is using a negative statement. He says, if you don't, what will happen? In the next verse, he says, if you, what will happen? So these two verses establish the importance of Shastra. Yeah, Shastra vidim utstrutya. Why we should go through Shastra? Why we should read Gita? And uncle, coming to your question. So Krishna is saying here, if you just become a good character, no, morally right, ethically correct, is that enough? You are living in the mode of goodness. What did Krishna say? He says mode of goodness is the necessary step. You must transcend the modes, and that is possible by removing ignorance. And how do we remove ignorance? By taking shelter of scriptures. Yah Shastra Vidim Uttrujya. Yah means anyone. Shastra Vidim. What is Shastra Vidim? It is a commandment, it's an injunction, it's a regulation. Simple way to understand what is Gita is now you buy a TV, fridge, AC, whatever nice gadget you bring home, it comes with an instructor's manual, owner's manual. Why? Because it's a complex piece of equipment, and we study that and start using it. Similarly, we should realize that we live in a world, and our human body mind is also as complex as any of these gadgets, and we don't know how to use this. We don't know how to live in this world. We just get thrown into these no flow of things and get carried away. Oh, we have one life, let's enjoy. Krishna says no, use this as a manual, and each time try to say that, okay, is this what I should be doing? And if you start asking that question, then you will slowly get into the right path. Now this happened in Karnataka. Nice example. Now there are many demigod temples in Karnataka, in thousands. You have Shiva temple, Parvati temple, Durga temple. They all went and approached the Acharya. Then they said, in Gita, Krishna says, I am the ultimate enjoyer of all sacrifices, but we are all demigod worshippers. So we are offering bhoga only to Ganesha, Shiva, Parvati. Then we are not following Gita. What do we do? That is called jignasa. The Acharya said, you are asking a very, very pertinent and relevant question. And there is an answer in Shastra. Shastra Vidim. What does the Shastra say? Take a Saligrama, who is Vishnu Rupa, Vishnu Swarupa, keep it in the temple. Whenever you offer bhoga, first offer it to the Saligrama, that is Vishnu, Krishna, then offer it to the demigod. This is what Shastra Vidim is. And they followed that. And so, if you have a doubt, try to take shelter of the scriptures to solve that problem. Utsrujya, one who doesn't take recourse to Shastra, then you are in trouble. And this verse is a seed verse for the next chapter. Vartate kama karataha. What is your motive behind any act? It is selfish. You are trying to act everything as per your own whims, your own desires. Then Krishna says, Nasa Siddhim, you will not get any purification of mind. And purification of mind is very important to get rid of ignorance. Avapnoti, you will not get that realization. You will not get sukham. You will not get happiness. You will not get peace of mind. Why? Because you are driven by overindulgence, your health will suffer and your mind is polluted. Na param gatim. You have ruled yourself out from the path of self-realization. So do not try to follow this path. Now, I was always saying that, reading Gita, reading this chapter is very easy. And most of us go back saying that, well, I have understood. Now I'll ask a simple question. We are all familiar with this right to life versus right to choose. And there are two social problems which we face: abortion and same sex marriage. Now, what do the scriptures say? I want you to keep the answer, and I will ask one or two. You can tell me what the answer. Uncle, you please tell me, is abortion right? According to you? Uncle?
No,
Is
not right.
not right. Very good. Let me ask the next question to Murari. Same-sex marriage, Murari, is it right? Murari, are you there? Is same-sex marriage right?
Mhm.
No. Very
No.
good. Right. Now, I ask this to just test the waters. Many of us, and you can see this around you. I know there are people who are doctorates in Gita in many universities abroad. You can do your doctorate even in Gita. So they are well versed in Gita wisdom. But they have two faces. They say that I have spiritual interest. That's why I got into studying Gita. But I have a social life. I have a social persona. And there, I don't mind saying I support either abortion or same-sex marriage. Now, Krishna says, this is not understanding Shastra with him. If you understand Gita, there is only one answer. There cannot be two answers. So this is how we should start applying our knowledge of this verse. What is Shastra with him? Shastra with him very clearly says, you have no right to abort another life. You cannot have same-sex marriage. If you want to do it for social reasons, then it is your choice, but it is not as per Shastra. Going further, crime. What is crime? All of us know that crime is bad. What is sin? Sin is an act forbidden by God. All of us know the definition. Involves, now what does crime do? It involves legality. What does sin do? Involves morality. In crime, you can use law to help you. But in sin, only scriptures can help. So if you want to decide, I want to support abortion or I want to support same-sex marriage, then you'll have to take shelter of scriptures. No amount of law will help you get to the right understanding. And what is that Shastra? It is Gita. Going to the last verse, and now I have another nice video here. It tells you in short.
एक दिन एक बुजुर्ग ट्रेन के इंतजार में रेलवे स्टेशन पर बैठकर रामायण की छोटी सी पुस्तक पढ़ रहे थे। तभी उनके पास बैठे एक नए शादीशुदा जोड़े में से युवक ने कहा, बाबा क्यों अपना समय बर्बाद कर रहे हो? इनसे आपको क्या सीखने को मिलेगा? अगर पढ़ना ही है तो अखबार पढ़ो, मैगजीन पढ़ो और बहुत सारी चीजें हैं जो आपको दुनियादारी की बातें सिखाती है, व्यावहारिक ज्ञान देती हैं, उन्हें पढ़ो। इतने में अचानक ट्रेन आ गई। युवक अगले और बाबा पिछले गेट से ट्रेन में चढ़ गए। ट्रेन चलने के थोड़ी ही देर बाद युवक की चीखने चिल्लाने की आवाज आई, क्योंकि युवक खुद तो ट्रेन में चढ़ गया था, परंतु उसकी पत्नी ट्रेन में नहीं चढ़ पाई थी, वो पीछे ही रह गई थी। तभी बाबा ने कहा कि बेटा, तुमने अखबार व अन्य सैकड़ों पुस्तकों को पढ़ने की बजाय अगर रामायण पढ़ी होती तो तुम्हें ज्ञात होता कि राम सखा तब नाव मंगाई, प्रिया चढ़ाई चढ़े रघुराई। अर्थात श्री राम जी ने नाव पर चढ़ते समय पहले सीता को नाव पर चढ़ाया था, उसके बाद खुद चढ़े थे। तुम भी पहले अपनी पत्नी को ट्रेन में चढ़ाते, उसके बाद खुद चढ़ते, तो तुम्हारे साथ ये घटना नहीं होती। निष्कर्ष, आज आदमी को पढ़ना तो आ गया, पर क्या पढ़ना है ये नहीं आया। जीवन तो मिल गया, पर जीना कैसे है ये नहीं आया। जो बातें हमारे ग्रंथ हमें सिखाते हैं वह आज की मॉडल पुस्तकों में भी नहीं है। इनसे आप केवल व्यवहार और दुनियादारी ही सीख सकते हैं। और दोस्तों, ये कहानी आपको अच्छी लगी हो तो फॉलो कर। एक दिन एक बुजुर्ग ट्रेन के इंतजार में।
That short clip, what did it tell us? You can read newspaper, you can see TV, but that doesn't give you knowledge.
General
What gives you?
general knowledge.
Yeah,
General knowledge.
exactly. Will that help you lead your life and go back?
Life. Yeah.
It does not. It does
Hmm.
not. So we must follow the scriptures to really understand. That is our lighthouse. That is what Krishna is trying to emphasize. The last verse of this chapter. Tasmak shastram pramanam te karya akarya vyavastitao pratva shastra vidhanoktam karma kartum iharasi. Krishna says, following the scriptures, and that is what is the guidance for choosing your actions. One should therefore understand what is duty and what is not duty. Most of us don't have that basic understanding. By the regulations of the scriptures, knowing such rules and regulations, one should act so that he may be gradually elevated. So how do you understand this verse? In human society, we have aversion to understanding the principles of Krishna. And we don't realize it is very easy to say that I don't believe in Gita. It just takes few milliseconds. Fine. He says, you are the cause of your own downfall. I can't help you because you are now under the influence of Maya. And why we say this is guidance for choosing action? Tasmat shastram pramanam te. Now, whenever we act, there are four things which are very popular. All of us use this. Oh, this is the mood. I want to do this. I feel like doing it. Or fashion. Everyone is doing it. I want to do it. Tradition. Oh, we have always done it, so we will do it. Or logic. It makes sense. So before doing any action, these are the four principles which we apply. But Krishna is saying, All these core principles will only take you so far and not to the perfect end. If you want to really know what is the guidance for action, consult Shastra. Tasmat Shastram Pramanam Te. Tasmat is those who do not live up to Shastric injunctions, regulations, Shastra Praman. So, what we should be doing as Gita students is that Gita is my source of wisdom. Any difficulty, I will open that and I will ask for pramana. That is the means of knowledge that I will follow. That is the one which is going to guide me. I will not go by mood. I will not go by tradition. I will not go by fashion. Karya, karya, vyavastitao. I will decide properly what is to be done and akarya, what is not to be done. Because I have understood it by referring to the scriptures. And this is what Arjuna did in the earliest of the chapters. In the second chapter, he says, Krishna, I am confused about my duty, Karya, and have lost all composure because of my miserly weakness. In this condition, I am asking you to tell me for certain what is best for me. Now I am your disciple and a soul surrender unto you. Please instruct me. All of us should be in this mood. None of us have the right answer to all the questions, all the challenges of life. All that we should do is read, understand, apply. Natva Shastra Vidhanokam. After understanding, after knowing what is Shastra, follow that. And then say that I will do what is allowed and I will not do what is not allowed. Karma kartum iharasi. Then one acts accordingly. Iharasi, it will benefit you to act according to the scriptures. This is the final teaching of Krishna. He says that now there is a nice story to drive home this truth. What will our thought process, principles can take us up to? Now, there was a sage who lived in a forest. He was world famous in terms of his value, his principle. He never lied. He was another Harishchandra. Then, and he was teaching the same thing to his disciples. The whole area, the whole kingdom was aware that truth is the only reality of life. And then one day, what happened? They were all sitting in the forest, in the ashram. He was talking to his disciples, and there was a deer which came running. The deer looked at the sage, and it pleaded through its eyes. Millisecond reaction. Please protect me. And the sage did not do anything. He allowed the deer to enter the ashram and hide. Just after that, there was a hunter who came rushing behind, and he asked the sage, "Did you see a deer? I want to hunt it down for my food today." And to the shock and surprise of all the disciples around, the sage said, "No, I have not seen any deer here. You please go and search in the forest." And the sage, the hunter left because he had realized, he knew that sage never lied. And if he says there is no deer here, there is no deer here. And then the sage and the disciples asked the sage, "How come you have lied? You have told us all your life that we should speak the truth." Then he says, Shastram Pramante. He says, whenever you have a doubt, you must understand what is the higher principle of life. I lied, I will be punished for that, but I have saved a life. I will be rewarded for that. So that is dharma. So when only Shastras can tell us what is the right karya, what is the wrong karya. So how do we reach this place? How do we get to this level where we have that awareness of what we should be doing? First is try to follow the rules and regulations. Avoid prohibited behavior. Understand one's duty. Follow dharma is one's duty. Following the Shastras. Make an attempt to follow the Shastras. Now, the last video clip of the day. So what is the moral of the story? We may have depression, we may have anxiety. All that we need to do is, yes, I am going through these miseries of life. I have to consult the Shastra, Shastram Pramanante, to help us come out of that. This we have come to the end. A quick recap. The acronym of this chapter is DOG. We studied what are the divine qualities, what are the demoniac qualities, and we understood what are the opinion and outlook of demons from verse 7 to 20. And today we saw how we can get free from demonic qualities. Consult the Shastras. That is how we can make a choice. And then what is the goal? What is the reward by following that? You will achieve the supreme destination. Thank you very much. Yeah, there it is. Now the floor is open for any questions if you have. Now, Uncle, you ask me the question again.
Just
I will
just
answer.
quickly, I missed who was that sage? The last story about the deer hunter and the deer coming to the ashram.
No, this is a. I don't remember the name of the sage. I only remember the story.
It's not the one on the next following Janma. He had to come. Wait a minute, please. Forgotten the name. Sorry. Okay.
I will try to research it. I don't remember the name, Uncle. And now, I want to ask you: have you found the answer to your question? If we are condemned to our own karma, how will I get liberation? If I'm, let's say, condemned to be born as an animal, how will I come out of the cycle? This was your question, right?
Correct.
The answer to that question is, we are in the cycle. And now, how many times you have seen a dog? You have seen a small animal showing a lot of symptoms of bhakti. I can send you so many articles where, a monkey has behaved oddly, a dog has behaved oddly. And, when there is puja going in the house, the dog behaves completely contrary to what a dog should be doing. It is so humble, it is so polite, and it is almost as though even a dog is offering praise to the puja which is going on in the house. Now, you can get liberated by your act, even if you do it ignorantly, innocently. And even the dog, which has been, it is born as a dog because of some karma it did it. And Krishna shows the dog the path, how it can come back to a human life and get back to mukti. Now, you take Bharat Maharaj. He, at the last stage of his life, he fell into a compassionate love with the deer. And because of that, instead of going back to Krishna Goloka, he was born as a deer. But the deer, with the knowledge, he remembered that, yes, I made a mistake of, instead of saying Krishna at the time of death, I said, deer, oh dear, what will happen to you? Who will look after you? And Krishna said, you take the body of the deer. Then in the next life, he became Jadabharata. And if you look at Jadabharata, you would say, who's this guy? But Jadabharata achieved his liberation after going through that phase of what we do, we have to pay for it. But the ultimate destination doesn't change. You may just get diverted. You may be born as a deer, you may be born as Jadabharata, but Krishna will take you back to him. Why? Because you have your firm belief that Krishna will be with me always. And what I have to do, I have to just pray, I have to surrender. Simple. I don't have to do anything more than that. Everything else is taken care of by him. And he says this repeatedly to Arjuna. You fight because I am asking you to fight. Don't tell me or ask me whether it is right or wrong. I decide what is right, what is wrong. I am here to uphold dharma.
Yeah,
That
no,
is a
it's,
short answer.
agree. And like the dog, you said about the dog, compassionate. See, that is because it had that some bit of punya, right, in the previous birth. That's why it did. It can liberate. But here in this, verse 19, he says, repeatedly you will be in the yoni, the Nicha yoni, you will be born repeatedly, as if there is no salvation. This is what I meant.
Okay.
Only chance is in this. In this life, if you don't do good, you will be asuri. You will be condemned to repeated births in the yoni.
Right.
And then if we got that curse, how will he get out? This is what I was going to ask.
See, that's what. When whatever is your situation, he says, apitesa duracharo. You are the most abominable person. Valmiki was a person who committed all the heinous, sinful crime. But the day he realized, he was liberated. So we are cursed, we are condemned into an Asura Yoni, but there will also be the same opportunity for whatever Yoni you are in. Krishna will show you the path to ensure that you pay for that karma there in that life, and then slowly you progress back to the a jiva, a human being, and then from there mukti. Now you take Narad Muni. Narad Muni was not Narad Muni right away. Narad Muni was born as a maid servant son. Narad Muni did not have food to eat. Now Narad Muni's mother was a maid who was serving the Brahmanas. Then Narad Muni was a 5-year-old kid. He was so hungry. The Brahmanas were having a sumptuous meal, but he did not have 2 square meals a day. So Narada goes to the Brahmanas and begs and says, "Can you allow me to eat from the leftover that is thrown in the dustbin?" I can't, because his mother says they are all very respected, exalted sages. So don't go and say that, "Can I eat from your plate?" All that you, as a maid's son, what you can qualify is that ask their permission to eat from the leaf that is thrown into the dustbin. He goes and asks. He's an innocent child, but his faith in his mother's words was so much. And that also is blessing of Krishna. He goes and asks the sages. The sages said, "You are free." Because Brahmana's leftover is also so pious, and Narada ate that. After that, his ignorance slowly disappeared. He lost his mother. Then he could have gone astray. But he says, "No. What did my mother tell me? I have to serve the Brahmanas and the sages." And he spent his whole life doing that. After that, Krishna made him Narada Muni. So, birth, yoni, they're all, yes, part of karma. But there is a path which is shown to us. Now, Narad Muni would have said, "No, Mama, I don't want to eat the thrown over from sages. It is demeaning to me. I may be a maid servant son, but I don't want to do that. I will find my own food." Then you are Asuri. But the moment you surrender, you may be eating at the lowest form of food that is possible in this world. But imagine today, he is Narad Muni. So if you go to a temple, now I will tell you, uncle, the best seva that you can do is either you look at, keep the chapels when the devotees come into the temple. We think, "Arey, why should I do the seva?" Or when the prasad is served, the plates are kept over. There is a queue of people who say that, "I want to wash the plates." Now you will be wondering, why of all the things they want to do this? Because it is said in Shastra that if you take care of the shoes of a Vaishnava, or if you clean the plate in the plate where the Vaishnava has had food, or a Brahmana has had food, you will achieve liberation. It is you.
Well, that's what Gandhi used to do, isn't it? The first thing is, wash the latrines. That's what he followed Gita to that extent. Yeah.
True. And you go to Golden Temple, they are sick, and you get to see this. Biggest of the biggest Sikh comes and washes the plates in the temple.
Yeah.
So and ultimately, what does this require? It requires humility. Why did Narada Muni do that? Or why does any rich Sikh go to the Golden Temple and serve? Because he says, "I is not the reality. The moment I bow my head, then I have surrendered. And I want to learn that humility by doing this menial task." That is the little answer I can give, uncle.
Shyama,
Helama.
if you have the permission, ನಾನು ಒಂದು ಎರಡು instances I just want to tell you. One, you have told me one thing. Second thing is, with respect to your uncle's question. First, ಇವಾಗ ನಾಯಿ ಇದೆ. Okay.
Right.
It does not have the brain or the knowledge, say God and other things. When
Right.
you are there, what I do is good, bad, or ugly, I don't know. Whenever I get prasada,
Right.
okay, a small portion, a token, I'll put it to him.
Fantastic.
You have told me that will take the next janma, he will be born as a human to correct his mistakes.
Exactly. That is how it is.
Second thing is, Iskcon, some Maharaj had told us. Okay, somebody asked him a question, "Why are you plucking the flowers, sir? You are hurting the plant." He says, "See, it is there in the scriptures that if you take the flower and offer it to God, you give the tree or the plant a chance to human in the next janma."
Exactly.
I don't know whether it's relevant, but I thought I should supplement this.
Very relevant, Ramesha. That is how Krishna plays his role unseen. We will never see it. Not will a dog Vicky at home, does he know that you're offering him prasada? But his Agnana Sukruti. Without his knowledge, he's having even one small crumb of prasad is enough for liberation. And that comes out of faith. Because what does the dog do? Dog believes completely whatever Ramesh gives me, that is what I'm going to have. Simple, innocent, but faith. And this is also a wonderful example. That flower that you offer to the Lord, it is the sukruti of that flower, because in the next life, the flower is going to be born as a human being. For mukti, for liberation, we must get this jiva as a human. There is no mukti possible in any other 8.4 million species of life that Krishna has defined. If you want liberation, you have to be born as a human. You have to serve Krishna. You have to surrender to him. Only then liberation is born. Is it okay, uncle?
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I'm conscious that, I'm holding you all up on a Sunday evening. Sorry, Sunday morning for uncle and evening for Ramesha and Neha. Thank you very much. Look forward to meeting you all
Thank you.
in the next
Thank you.
class. Thank you very much. Hare
Thank you.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.